Welcome to Elliptical's online support video. In this video, we will install the suspension stem on your Elliptical. You will need a multi-tool, or at least a 4 and a 5mm Allen wrench. In your box, you should have received your stem, the instructions for the installation as found on Redshift Sports website, extra elastomers, and the handlebar shims which we will need to install the stem on our handlebars. The stem has shipped with the number 50, the yellow elastomer, already installed. So we will not actually be installing an elastomer. Start by removing or moving your reflector, just kind of out of the way. Then we're going to remove the faceplate bolts on your Elliptical, so the existing ones, and that's a 4mm Allen wrench. So go ahead and remove all 4 of the faceplate screws, and then remove the faceplate. Once you've removed the faceplate, go ahead and place your handlebars on the ground or off to the side. Next, we're going to loosen the stem bolts, and these are the ones that attach to the steering extender. And on the ProLite series, which is our stem, it's a 5mm Allen wrench. So go ahead and loosen them. You don't have to remove them, just loosen them enough so that we'll be able to remove the stem off the extender. And then once you've got those loose, go ahead and remove the top cap, and that is also a 5mm Allen wrench, and just go ahead and just take that off and set to the side because we're going to reinstall it later. Now pop your stem off of your extender and store this in case you ever need to swap it back. We're going to install the suspension stem. There's 2 sides to this, a positive and a negative side. That just means the angle of the stem. And we're going to install it on the positive side, which is where it says torque to 5 Newton meters on the top. So that's the side that's positive, meaning it's a more upward angle and more comfortable. If you want to do the negative, the -6 degrees, you'll have to flip it over and remove the elastomer. But for this purpose, we're going to install it as it's been shipped to us. So slide it over the steering extender all the way down, and then push the stem up so that you get about 2 to 3 millimeters of gap between the top of the steering extender and the stem. There should be a little gap between the stem and the steering extender because that's where the top cap's going to go back in. So you can see there's just a little bit of a gap between the extender and the top of the stem there. Go ahead and lightly tighten the stem bolts. This is going to be a 4mm Allen wrench. You don't have to torque these down quite yet, but we want to make sure the stem doesn't move on us while we're taking off the faceplate and putting on the handlebars. You can also go ahead and put the top cap in. Now this is a top cap that came off of your original stem, so your suspension stem doesn't ship with a new top cap, so that's a 5mm. And now we're going to go ahead and remove the faceplate screws off of the Redshift, the suspension stem, and remove all 4 of those. Just a quick note, the stem has to be installed on the bike before we install the preload wedge. Now our preload wedge is already installed, but if you were to change your elastomers, you have to do it with the stem on the extender before you do that. So Redshift Sports, the shock stop suspension stem, has a great video on removing the elastomers, so I encourage you to look at their video. But essentially you'll use a 3mm Allen wrench and remove the wedge that's in the stem, and then you can pull your elastomer out and put a new elastomer in. So if you decide you don't want the 50, you can change that to any of the other numbers that come with your stem. And again, that would be a 3mm Allen wrench. And your stem must be installed on the extender. For ours, we're going to go ahead and use the included handlebar shims. This is because our clamp size is a 25.4 and the clamp size of the stem is larger. So place your shim over your handlebars And you'll note that our handlebar has little ridges in it. That's a riser bar that helps you to determine what degree rise you want out of your bar. So you're just going to cover that with the shim and try and get it as centered as possible. And then you'll place that into the stem. You'll note that the shim doesn't completely enclose the handlebar. There's a little bit of a gap on either side. That's okay. Just try and make it as equal as possible. And when you insert your handlebar into the stem, make sure your cables are looped out in front and they haven't been twisted or flipped over the bars while it was resting off to the side. Now that we have our handlebar centered, we're going to attach the faceplate using the 4 faceplate screws. This is a 4mm Allen wrench. You're going to tighten these so that they are tight and secure, but not over tighten. The max tight rating is 5 Newton meters, which again just means tighten these down so that they're secure, but don't over tighten to where you can snap the heads off. You also want to secure the faceplate with even pressure so that it's balanced, meaning that there's a little bit of a gap between the top and bottom of the faceplate and the stem. So they should be pretty well balanced and the handlebars sit right in the middle of the faceplate and the stem. Now we're going to align the stem with the front wheel. You can do this by standing in front of the bike and looking at it, or standing over the stem and looking straight down your line of sight. The center of the faceplate bolts with the front wheel should be lined up. And then you're going to tighten your stem bolts using your 4mm Allen wrench. Make those nice and tight, and then you'll also tighten down the top cap screw and secure that. Check that everything is secure by moving the handlebars side to side and up and down to make sure that you do not have anything slipping. And if you have any questions on this installation process, please contact us at Elliptical. You can email us at service@elliptico.com or call us at 888-796-8227. Congratulations on your new suspension stem. Go out and have a great ride.